सब्सक्राइब कीजिए चैनल को और प्रेस कीजिए बेल आइकन को नोटिफिकेशन के लिए।
Now, what is a dangling modifier? A dangling modifier is a word or a phrase that cannot logically describe, limit, or restrict any word or word group in the sentence. A few examples coming up. First one, using a variety of pedagogical techniques, the students were taught grammar. Can you identify the error in the sentence? The students, were they using a variety of pedagogical techniques? No, it was a teacher, not the students. How would you modify that? We'll see the correct answer in a while. Second one, to improve his essay, each page was proofread. Who was improving the essay? Each page? No, it was definitely an individual. Third one, while reading the novel, the pages that contain important information should be marked. While reading the novel, who's reading the novel? The pages? No, you'll have to insert some name, some person's name, some individual's name so as to correct the sentence. So, how should you correct these sentences having dangling modifier errors? You can add a word or a word group that the dangling modifier can logically modify. Now, a hint here, which would certainly help you with your answers, is you must usually change the subject of the main clause. The same questions coming up once again. Using a variety of pedagogical techniques, the students were taught grammar. Pedagogical techniques, the word pedagogy means teaching methodology, the way the students are taught. So, using a variety of pedagogical techniques, students cannot use a variety of pedagogical techniques. It is a teacher, a lecturer, or a professor who was using a variety of pedagogical techniques. So, in order to correct it, you can expand the main clause and you can insert some other subject. Let us see the correct answer. Using a variety of pedagogical techniques, the teacher taught the students grammar. Now here, as you can notice in the incorrect sentence, the second clause was in passive voice. Here we have corrected the sentence and we have converted the same sentence into active voice sentence. Second question, to improve his essay, each page was proofread. To improve his essay, who is improving essay? Is it the each page? No, it is some individual. So you'll have to again insert some name in order to make the sentence grammatically correct. To improve his essay, David proofread each page. Again, the same change can be noticed here. The statement in the incorrect part was in passive voice, and in order to correct the sentence, we've converted the same into an active voice structure. The third question coming up. While reading the novel, the pages that contain important information should be marked. While reading the novel, who's reading the novel? Is it the pages? No, again, it is an individual. It is you, I, or somebody else. So, again, you need to keep in mind that in order to correct this sentence, you'll have to insert a subject after the portion that is coming before comma. While reading the novel, you should mark the pages, or you can insert some other name also, that contain important information. Now, if you compare the two parts, the incorrect sentence with the correct sentence part, it's the same thing. We've inserted a subject and we've converted the sentence of passive construction into an active voice construction. Now we'll have an assessment test. You'll be given a few sentences. You should identify what is wrong with the following sentences. The professor posted the notes for the students covered in class. You can take a few seconds time and identify what is wrong with the sentence. Now, covered in class, is it right? Would you use covered as a term for students? No, covered should come for notes. So let us see how would we correct the sentence. The professor posted the covered notes for the students in class. Now that sounds correct. Notes were covered and not the students. The second sentence here, changing the oil every 3000 miles, the car seemed to run better. Who's changing the oil? Is it the car? No, it is an individual. It is you, I, or somebody else. So changing the oil cannot modify the car. It is again the same kind of error that we have learnt in detail, dangling modifier. Let us see how to proceed with correcting the sentence. Changing the oil every 3000 miles, I found that car was running better. That's one way of correcting it. Apart from that, you could also say the car seemed to run better because or as I changed the oil every 3000 miles. The third sentence now. Bright and full of flowers, Jenny entered the meadow. Now, bright and full of flowers, does it modify Jenny or the meadow? It should modify the meadow and not to Jenny. Can you identify which modifier error it is? It is not dangling modifiers here, it is misplaced modifier error. Let us see how to correct it. Jenny entered the meadow, that was bright and full of flowers. Or other way of correcting the same sentence can be Jenny entered the bright and full of flowers meadow. The next question coming up. With 3 minutes to write, the exam was nearly finished. Can you identify the error? Yes. Let us see how to correct it and what's wrong with the sentence. With 3 minutes to write, the exam. Did the exam have 3 minutes to write? No, it refers to an individual again. It does not refer to the exam. So let us see the way of correcting the sentence now. Since I had 3 minutes to write, the exam was nearly finished. Or you could also say, with 3 minutes to write, I had nearly finished the exam. Question number 5. Careful not to make a tear, the delicate paper was wrapped around the gift. Let us see the error. Careful not to make a tear, the delicate paper. Was the delicate paper careful about not making a tear? No, it was an individual again. So again, another dangling modifier error. And in order to correct it, we'll have to insert a subject after comma. Let us see how to do that. Careful not to make a tear, I wrapped the delicate paper around the gift. Or you could also say, I wrapped the delicate paper around the gift, careful not to make a tear. Having a quick glance at what we learned so far and a few more examples. Dangling modifiers. These are words or phrases which dangle, which hang, because they have no word in the sentence to describe. This question coming up here. While taking a shower, the doorbell rang. While taking a shower. Who was taking a shower? Is it the doorbell? No, it was an individual. Doorbell obviously cannot take a shower. That sounds funny. So, let's see how to correct it now. By adding a head word, a noun or a pronoun that is described. While I was taking a shower, the doorbell rang. Or you can also say, while taking a shower, I heard the doorbell ring. Now in the second part, if you can notice, the second clause, I heard the doorbell ring, this construction is active voice construction once again. A misplaced modifier. It is placed too close to some other word that it does not intend to modify. Let's look at this example. A little tricky one again. I only speak one language. Can you identify the error? I only speak one language. Yes, only refers to one language, that does not refer to speaking. So, in order to correct it, you can say I speak only one language, or you could also say I speak one language only. But what is wrong with the given sentence? What idea does it convey? I only speak implies as if I don't perform any other activity. Only, if it is placed before speaking, is an adverb. Here it modifies speaking. That means the speaker does not perform any other action except speaking one language, which is definitely grammatically wrong construction. Revising misplaced modifiers. How would you do that? By placing the modifier next to its head word. The same example, I speak only one language. Now, after understanding what dangling and misplaced modifiers are in detail, we'll move on to a few other variants of modifiers. The first one that is coming up is split infinitives. Now, what is an infinitive? Infinitive is two plus first form coming up together. For an example, he likes to swim. So, to swim is an infinitive here. To and swim. To followed by first form of verb is what is called as an infinitive. So, what are split infinitives now? These are misplaced modifiers which are placed between the preposition to and the verb in an infinitive. A grammatical unit consisting of the word to plus a verb. For an example, to eat, to sleep, etc. Let's look at the sentence. Dentists encourage children to regularly brush their teeth. To brush is an infinitive. To plus first form of the verb. Now, regularly is a misplaced modifier again, which is playing the role of split infinitive. So, in order to correct it, you'll have to ensure that regularly is placed at some other word, not between the infinitive. The modifier regularly is splitting the infinitive to brush. Now, revising split infinitives. By moving the modifier to another part of the sentence. Dentists encourage children to brush their teeth regularly. In the wrong sentence, if you could notice, to brush, that was an infinitive. Regularly was placed between the two. So, infinitives should come together. You cannot split the infinitive by putting a misplaced modifier. The next variant of modifiers after split infinitives is squinting modifiers. Squinting modifiers are again a variant of misplaced modifiers which seem to modify two words together. The example here, Patty, who was walking quickly, reached the club. Now, quickly, which is an adverb, is coming between two verbs which are walking and reached. So, quickly modifies which one? This is an ambiguous sentence. This may convey two ideas. First one, Patty was walking quickly or she was reaching quickly. This is, as said earlier, creating an ambiguity. So, these are squinting modifiers. They seem to modify two words. So, you should correct these sentences in such a manner that they are modifying only one word and not two words. So, the question is Patty walking quickly or is she quickly reaching the club? Now, revising squinting modifiers. How would you do that? By changing the word order so that there is no ambiguity. And as said earlier, squinting modifiers and split infinitives both are a part of misplaced modifiers only. So Petty, who was quickly walking, reached the club. That's one way. Now here in this sentence, if you can notice, there is no ambiguity. Quickly refers to walking only, and that does not refer to reaching the club. Or you could also say, Petty, who was walking, reached the club quickly. In this case, if quickly is coming at the end, it modifies reaching and not to walking. Now the question is, which one should you choose between the two? You should not worry, because your competitive examination which you are preparing for would not give you subjective questions. You would always be finding objective multiple choice questions. So your job there is much easier. You can always identify which one is the best choice or the most appropriate choice among the available options. We'll have a few practice questions coming up now. Having encountered this problem many times before, the flat tire was easy for me to fix. Having encountered this problem many times before. Who had encountered this problem? Is it the flat tire which had encountered the problems? No, it was I. Because a clue which is given in the sentence is easy for me. So obviously that implies I had encountered this problem and not the flat tire. Let us see how to correct it. Having encountered this problem many times before, this part has been placed as it is. After comma, we'll insert the correct subject. That would be I could fix the flat tire easily. Or you could also say, I could fix the flat tire easily, a comma, having encountered this problem many times before. You should remember, punctuation plays a very significant role in modifiers. You cannot avoid punctuation. Comma, full stop, everything has to be placed at the positions which are right for them. The next question here. I only have classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I only have classes. So only, is it correctly modifying having classes, or it should modify something else? Yes, it should modify Tuesdays and Thursdays and not having classes. How would you correct the sentence then? Let us see. I have classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays only. Or you could also say, I have classes only on Tuesdays and Thursdays. A few more practice questions coming up. See, you should remember, the more you practice, the more comfortable you would feel. And as we've discussed earlier, modifiers are one of the most important parts of English grammar from the perspective of your competitive exam. So it is important that you keep practicing more and more. Let's look at this question. In group situations, the people who participate sometimes can be annoying when they don't know what they are doing. Could you identify the error? A very tricky question, I must say. The problem here is who participate can sometimes be annoying. Who participate sometimes. Now sometimes is again an squinting modifier here. It is not clear it is modifying participating or it is modifying those people being annoying. The next question. It is a citizen's right to openly criticize the government without the fear of being harassed. Now see, split infinitives that we've done, that implied that to plus first form of the verb should come together and there should not be any other insertion between the two. If you can notice this sentence, to criticize is again an infinitive. It should not be split by putting a misplaced modifier in between. So openly is a split modifier again. It's a split infinitive once again. So that should be avoided. Let us see how to correct it. It is the citizen's right to criticize the government openly without the fear of being harassed. A discussion on the position of modifiers now. After we've discussed on all the 4 modifier types, misplaced modifiers, dangling modifiers, split infinitives and squinting modifiers in detail, we should understand what should be the position of these modifiers. Whether the modifiers should come at the beginning, they should come at the end, or in the middle. Let us discuss around that. So a misplaced or inappropriately used modifier item on an objective test might appear like this. So here in front of you, you can see a multiple choice question. Out of these 3 sentences, there is only one that is correct. Let us see how to identify what is the correct answer. The first sentence, broken and dusty, Clarence found an old computer in the garage. Broken and dusty. Does it refer to Clarence? No, it does not refer to Clarence. That means statement A is grammatically wrong sentence. See, you should play very smart with such questions. You don't need to read the entire sentence. As soon as you read this part, broken and dusty Clarence, you can clearly say this is wrong because that does not refer to Clarence. B part now. Broken and dusty, the garage had an old computer. Broken and dusty. Does it refer to the garage? No, it does not. So B is also eliminated. Follow the approach of elimination with these questions. Choice C now. In the garage, Clarence found an old computer that was broken and dusty. This sounds correct. Broken and dusty modifies the computer and not to Clarence or the garage. So statement C is the most appropriate choice among the given options here. Now, the position of the modifiers. You should place a present participle phrase right before or right after the word that it describes. Let us see what is present participle. Present participle is verb plus ing form. Now an example coming up here in front of you. Dripping with hot fudge and whipped cream, the children ate banana splits. Were the children dripped with hot fudge and whipped cream? No, it refers to banana splits and not to the children. So, verb plus ing form, that is present participle form, should come closest to the noun that it modifies. The correct answer here would be the children ate banana splits, dripping with hot fudge and whipped cream. Now this sounds good because it's the banana splits which are dripping with the hot fudge and not the children. Now, a past participle phrase should be placed right before or right after the word that it modifies, as we saw in the case of present participle also. Now, what is past participle form? Present participle was verb plus ing form. Past participle is verb plus ed form. That means the past form of the verb. The example coming up here. In the living room, Paul kicked the television angered by the football score. Was the television angered by the football score? No, definitely not. So this sentence has the error again. Let us see how to correct that. Angered by the football score, Paul kicked the television in the living room. Now this sounds good because Paul is angered by the football score. Another strategy now. Placing an adjective clause right after the word that it describes. An adjective clause is the one that begins with words like that, which, who, etc. The example coming up here. The landscaper wrestled the old lawnmower through the long grass that cuffed and choked. So was it the grass that was cuffing and choking? No, that refers to the mower and not to the grass. So we've placed the adjective clause, that is that, after the noun that it is modifying. As you can notice, the landscaper wrestled the old lawnmower that cuffed and choked. Another strategy: to place modifiers correctly, avoid passive voice verbs. This is what we've been saying right from the beginning of the session. Now, passive voice is the form of be plus past participle form plus by. Let's look at this example to understand the concept better. Typing furiously, the essay was finished by Beatrice just before the 3 p.m. deadline. Typing furiously. Was the essay typing furiously or was it Beatrice? It was Beatrice. So the correct sentence would be, typing furiously, Beatrice finished the essay by the 3 p.m. deadline. As we saw, avoid passive voice constructions. Now we have a very quick test coming up. We'll have a few sentences. You need to identify what should be the right answer to that question. Let us start with the questions now. The first question. Let's look at the choices and let's see which one is the best choice. Statement A. Sitting on the top shelf of the refrigerator, Desmond saw. How would Desmond sit on the top shelf of the refrigerator? Desmond is the name of a boy. It's an individual. So top shelf of the refrigerator, obviously something is kept on the top shelf of the refrigerator. Desmond cannot sit on the top shelf of the refrigerator. Choice A is ruled out. B. Desmond, sitting on the top shelf of the refrigerator, saw mom's pristine birthday cake. It's the same problem again. Desmond is not sitting on the top shelf of the refrigerator. Choice C now. Sitting on the top shelf of the refrigerator, mom's pristine birthday cake. Now that's correct. Caught Desmond's attention. Choice C should be the answer, which is free of all the errors of misplaced and dangling modifiers. Now question number 2 coming up here. A part. Loudly slurping the bowl of hot soup, Derek's impolite behavior. So was it his impolite behavior that was slurping the bowl? No, it was Derek and not his impolite behavior. A is eliminated. B part. As Derek loudly slurped the bowl of hot soup, his impolite behavior annoyed the other dinner patrons. Now B is correct, since here it implies that Derek was loudly slurping the bowl and not the other patrons or his behavior. Let us still consider what does C say. Loudly slurping the hot soup, the other patrons were not slurping. It was Derek who was slurping. So choice B should be the best choice here. Now question number 3 coming up. And as you can notice, the level of difficulty is getting higher and higher with the more number of questions that we are doing. Statement A. Seated by the window, Barbara munched the popcorn on the long bus ride home. Seated by the window. Who was seated by the window? It was Barbara. And who was munching the popcorn? It was Barbara again. So statement A sounds correct. But as we suggested initially, you should not commit the mistake of marking any one answer choice outrightly just because it appears correct. You should consider all the other choices as well. Let us look at B part. Seated by the window, popcorn was munched. Was popcorn seated by the window? No. So B has an error. C part now. Barbara munched popcorn seated by the window. So was popcorn seated by the window? No again. Answer should be choice A, as we discussed earlier. Question number 4 coming up now. Rosalind struggled up the 3 flights of stairs in her new jeans, which were too tight for comfort. Now we need to understand there are 2-3 things which are being discussed. Rosalind is the one who's struggling up the 3 flights of stairs. And what is tight? It's her jeans which is too tight. So statement A sounds good. Let us see what is B saying. Too tight for comfort, Rosalind struggled up. So what is tight for comfort? Is it Rosalind? No. So B has an error. C part. In her new jeans, Rosalind struggled up 3 flights of stairs, which were too tight for comfort. Again an ambiguous sentence. Which were too tight for comfort. Does it refer to stairs? No, it refers to her jeans. It should be choice A as the best answer here. Question number 5 coming up now. Are you gaining confidence with the questions? Let us move on. Choice A now. Twisting in the strong wind, we knew the hurricane was close as we watched the trees. Twisting in the strong wind. So were we twisting in the strong wind? No. A is problematic. B now. We knew the hurricane was close as we watched the trees twisting in the strong wind. Yes, it were the trees which were twisting in the strong wind and not we. C part now. We knew the hurricane was close, twisting in the wind. No. Hurricane was close and what was twisting in the strong wind? It were the trees. So choice B should be the correct answer here. The next question coming up. Applying red toenail paint, Will asked Rhonda. Now who was applying toenail paint? Was it Will? No, it was Rhonda. So A has a problem. B part now. Will asked Rhonda who was applying red toenail paint if she could interrupt her beauty regimen to go for the mall. B sounds correct. Let us see what does C say. Will asked if Rhonda could interrupt her beauty regimen to go to the mall, which was applying red toe nail paint. So was the mall applying nail paint? No, it was Rhonda. So B should be the answer. Now question number 7 coming up in front of you. A part. Struggling with the algebra problem, the pencil tapped nervously on Kenneth's desk. So struggling with the algebra problem. Was the pencil struggling with the algebra problem? No, it was not the pencil. So statement A is ruled out. B part. Struggling with the algebra problem, Kenneth's desk. So was it his desk that was struggling with the algebra problem? No, it wasn't. So B is also ruled out. C part. Struggling with the algebra problem, Kenneth nervously tapped his pencil on the desk. Now that sounds correct. It was Kenneth who was struggling and not his desk or the pencil. Choice C should be the answer here. Now the last question coming up here for you. Marking his score sheet with care, the hope this week. So was the hope marking the score sheet? Definitely not. B part. Marking his score sheet with care, Byron hoped that this week he would pass his vocabulary quiz. B sounds correct. Let us see whether C is a better version or not. Hoping that this week he would pass his vocabulary quiz, the score sheet was marked carefully by Byron. As we have seen that you should avoid passive voice constructions and you should prefer active voice constructions always. So B was no doubt a better answer choice here. So here we have come to the end of the session. I believe you must have developed a good understanding of modifiers, different types of modifiers, and the usage. We'll continue with the further topics in the coming sessions to come. Hope to see you in the next class. Thank you.